Hello, guys. I'm very pleased to see you here in our stream at Olymp Ventures. Please welcome Bogdan Gnatkovский. Bogdan is our, let's say, very famous startup founder. Well, as far as I remember, I met Bogdan first 2 years ago in Lviv, and Bogdan there was treated like a local superstar. Actually, I remember this feeling, and I would like Bogdan to explain us his achievements and his walkthrough to this, let's say, to the current state. And also, I would like to welcome Kirill Parinov. He is the co-founder of Olymp Ventures, and he is, let's say, he is in the venture capital business for more than 15 years. And he's got three teams in accelerators now. So now let's talk, guys, about now we speak English because here in our audience, it seems that it's the most convenient way of communication anyway, because we have mixed audience from different countries, from Russia, Ukraine, United States, and whatever. So let's talk English. Anyway, if you want to be back up with a venture capital, it's very natural that you understand English really good. So it's very, very pity for our, let's say, for our podcast, for our broadcast listeners, if you don't understand English, guys, it's a perfect opportunity for you to get the idea. So first of all, you can listen to our broadcast here at our Facebook page of Olymp Ventures. Also, you can see it in our SaaS Founders closed business group, and also you can follow this link on Kirill's page. So first of all, Bogdan, you're very welcome. And could you tell us a little bit more about your project, the property management system? Yeah.
Dmitro, thank you for the introduction. Thank you for having me. Kirill, it's really nice to meet you. I will try to be as helpful as possible and share all of the insights that we've learned so far. So long story short, my name is Bogdan. I'm Ukrainian. I was born and raised in Lviv. And talking about Propertymate, like the company that I'm involved with at the moment. So it was like a little bit more complicated than just, starting up with the idea and then like doing something and finding any kind of success with that, because like when we were starting up, we had totally different idea. So when we were just starting with Propertymate, it was more like a CRM for real estate agents who were interested in working with like new constructions or new developments in New York City. Right now, it's more like marketplace where home buyers can access all information about new constructions and where real estate developers can easily find clients and sell new homes faster, right? So that's just like long story short. So it's not like property management system. It's probably closer to a marketplace or like lead referral platform that basically helps home builders to sell new homes faster and helps home buyers to access all information about new constructions, compare different homes and like listings, and then we help them to go through the transaction process as fast as possible, just like eliminating all of the barriers that can handle them from buying home.
Okay, nice. But if we speak about real estate, especially in the United States, it's a highly competitive market. So what's, let's say, the secret sauce? Because huge amount of real estate agencies with decades of history. How do you find your unique place there?
Yeah. So what's pretty cool about real estate in the US that like the process of buying a house haven't really changed for the last like 30 years, right? And while there's been like a lot of different technology advanced in resales market, new construction market was mostly untouched by technology, right? So probably everyone knows now about Zillow, about Trulia, about Realtor.com, about like many different platforms that people are using to find resales properties. But with new constructions, that's totally different, right? So home builders, they're working the same way how they worked like 30 years ago. They still use Excel spreadsheets to work with their inventory. They still buying like billboards and try like, marketing and radio to find their clients. And it's like really complicated, and nothing really changed. But what's been like a life-changing moment for us, that before that we were mostly targeting on off-market properties with real estate agents, and we were trying like to attract agents who were providing us with the inventory, and we were using this to basically create some sort of network effect. But after pandemic, what actually happened, that majority of home builders, they almost eliminated their marketing budget. They decided that's like, that market is into a certain position and that they were not sure if buyers will buy real estate or not. And they decided that like, we will just decrease our marketing spending and we'll figure out what will happen next. And basically our business model from the very beginning was based on commission sharing, that we were always positioning ourselves as a platform or as a solution that is actually helping you to sell real estate, and you pay us only when you close on the deal. And that was what we were offering to these home builders. We told them, like, you just need to provide us with your inventory, and then we will market this inventory to agents, and we'll see what's happened next. If we will make a transaction, you will pay us a commission. And we used that momentum to actually grow more than 40 times at the beginning of pandemic, because on the start of the pandemic in the beginning of March, we had like roughly 10 new construction communities in our platform. By the end of the May, we had almost 400. And the more we were talking to real estate developers, the more they mentioned that they want to connect with home buyers directly, right? And that's like another problem. So if we'll look in a real estate market of the United States in a nutshell, you'll see that right now is booming, right? So home builder confidence is higher than in 2007. Prices are growing faster than in 2005, right? So that's like, market is crazy right now. And there are like a couple of reasons for this. So first is that there's all-time lowest interest rates. So right now, to take a mortgage for a new house is like easier or cheaper than to rent. Another thing that today we have the lowest inventory level at any times, because people are afraid to move because of COVID, and still there are many people who want to buy new homes, but there are not enough people who are selling them. And third reason is that because of pandemic and work from home lifestyle that many people have, they started moving from large megapolises like LA, San Francisco, New York, to other cities that mostly have better climate and that have a better taxation policy, let's say to Texas, where we operate right now. And because of all that stuff that happened, real estate market started growing so fast, but you can find information about resales, but there are not many resales listings in the market right now. So the biggest source of market growth and new inventory in the market are new constructions. But new constructions don't know how to market in today's age, right? So they were buying billboards. They were, buying advertising on the radio. But when people are sitting at home, they're not listening to radio, they're not, checking different billboards, they don't know about this new constructions. So what we created, basically, that's the platform that has very unique supply, like new construction real estate, that is not presented anywhere else. And comparing with, let's say, Zillow, that has around 750 new construction listings on their platform in the area where we operate in Austin, we have more than 6,000 listings. So that's almost 10 times higher amount of inventory. So that's if we can call it a secret sauce, that's definitely is.
So it seems like, Bogdan, for you, going to the States was a very good strategy, right? So can you tell like the younger guys, is it better for them to, what's the goal to market strategy that you use? Do you start with like cold calling, LinkedIn, or you reach out to them, or you use some agents? How did you go about this? Did you find adopters and the other guys followed? This like very interesting stuff.
Yeah, that's really good question. So first part of the question, like if you should be in the United States, I think that you should be where your customers are and where your market is, right? It's very important to understand your market. And for us, just looking back, when we were trying to build this from Ukraine, we had too little knowledge about the industry, and being on the market, talking with the people who are involved in transaction and are involved in the industry itself, it was like extremely helpful for us. Talking about our go-to-market strategy, so we used several channels. We did cold calling, we did like outbound marketing, like cold mailing everyone. We tried almost everything, right? So at the end of the day, what worked out best for us, so we, as a two-sided marketplace, basically we even have like three audiences. We have real estate developers, we have agents, and we have buyers. In terms of builders, we still do cold calling, right? So we just have we have like phone numbers and like emails of every builder in the area, and we just call them, we asking them for the inventory, we try to set up relationships with them, and we try to present it to them as like a risk-free deal, right? Because they're paying us nothing at the moment. We just need to get their inventory, we need to sign some sort of commission sharing agreement with them, and that's all. Like, it's risk-free deal, we're giving them free leads, that's working up easily. With agents, that the same stuff. Mostly like majority of our growth that we had with agents was through email campaigns. So basically in the United States, you have access to like each agent is like basically sharing information about himself to get clients, right? So it's not a problem to get information about agents and then market to them. So we were using different outbound campaigns, cold mailing them, sending them information to like what should they do and why should they register on our platform, etc. In terms of buyers, we still very dependent on performance marketing. So like probably majority of our budget is going to Google ads. We also like probably 80% of our traffic is coming from search ads, right? So we just figured out the way how we can acquire leads from, let's say, from Google and Bing, right? And then just like transform this marketing qualified leads to sales qualified leads, and then convert them into transactions. So far it's working well for us. So that's what we're doing.
Okay, can you tell me a few words that you are now the residents of Techstars Austin, right?
Yeah, so we've been we actually like alumni of Techstars Austin. So we graduated in March 2020. It was like 11 days before the total lockdown that we had in Austin. So you can imagine that like we were in the middle of fundraising, right? So we just graduated from Techstars Austin. We were having like 60 meetings a week with different investors, angels, and VCs. And then like lockdown is happening, right? And at that moment, like no one knows what's going to happen to real estate next, because travel went down, like hospitality went down, real estate went down also pretty quick, because like majority of people were thinking about real estate as a mix of residential and commercial. And in terms of like what we've seen about WeWork, about other companies that've been in commercial space, they went down like really heavily, and no one really knew what's going to happen to our company. And we also we were very concerned about our future at that moment, right? But actually after that, we've seen that market went up pretty quickly, and it worked out great for us. But answering your question, we've been in Techstars Austin. That was like an amazing experience, right? Like, so it was 4 months that can be like, was probably more valuable than any other program or any other like educational stuff that we can imagine. So it was a great experience, and we are super grateful for Techstars team, for other cohort members that we met there. So it was an awesome experience.
Could you
How
give
many
more?
guys have done raising money in your team? What's the percentage and how much on average? Like, and what valuation did you raise? If it's not a secret.
So it's like, unfortunately, it's not a public information. So we've raised, I like concerning about Techstars, it's public info, right? So you're raising basically 120K for 6%. And there's the mix of like equity deal and convertible note, but that's roughly the same for everyone. But with Techstars, it's not like it's not more about money. So like right now we understand it's easier to raise money anywhere else with better valuation and like bigger check or with better valuation, and it's like in general not a big deal. But in terms of network and assistance that you're getting there, it's really priceless. And like Techstars as a brand is really helping you to raise in the future. They're helping you to connect you like with other investors, with funds, network is probably the biggest value. So I think that it's totally worth it. In terms of our second round, we raised like 1 billion. So it was pretty standard as a, like, let's say typical US round for the seed stage. So I'm just I don't really want to disclose the valuation and all of the terms, but it was like pretty standard deal.
So typically most of the guys, they raise on valuations around 6, 7, 8, you would say, roughly, maybe.
Yeah, 50. It was in that range.
Yeah.
Can you tell a few words maybe about the day-to-day activities in Accelerator? Because a lot of people ask us, okay, guys, should we go to Accelerator before and then to continue with the VC funds, or should we go to VC funds directly? If we are international company outside of the US, what do you think about that? What approach could be better and could give more value for the company?
Yeah, I think it really depends on like the stage of the company and experience of the founders, right? So if let's say you have like mature experience and you worked in several like really cool companies before, and you know like what you want to do next and how you want to do this, like of course it would be smarter if you will go to like and raise directly. Because that will help to get you basically like better options in terms of money and everything, especially if you have experience about like how you plan to build it and what do you plan to do next. If you are not sure and you feel that you have like the lack of network, lack of experience, and for you that might be like, it's at the end of the day, that's like story about the time, right? So just like if you want to build the same network you will get from Techstars or Y Combinator or like even from 500 startups, it would take you years to get that level of network and connections that will help you to accelerate your growth and execute really efficiently. And I think in that case, that really makes sense because you basically they help you to just avoid majority of the mistakes you will make at the beginning. They will help you to accelerate your traction to the stage where you're basically able to raise the meaningful financing round, and they will prepare you for everything that will happen next. Otherwise, it's also possible, right? But from what I've seen, like many companies that are applying and then companies that got in. So companies that got in, they've got like the better performance over the term. But it all depends. Like just recently, I've heard the story that like one guy who I know, he's been like previously executive in Zillow, and just recently he raised like $40 million seed round, right? Like without the product, without the company, without anything. So, and like probably he didn't need to go to Techstars or YC because like, you know, he nailed it pretty well. But majority of founders are not able to do that. So accelerators are actually helping you to just, you know, like it's a small step in the middle that you can use to just like step up the ladder. And it's really helpful.
Okay, Dmitro, what else from
Yeah. So I don't want to interrupt you because I did it 2 times. So for me, it was not convenient to interrupt you the 3rd time. Okay, so what do you think? Okay, you've been an accelerator. You raised some money, and you are, let's say, quite familiar with the growing, quite large and growing market like real estate in Austin. So what are your plans for the future? So do you plan to attract more VC money to, let's say, to back up your marketing activities, and what are your plans? So how do you plan to work more to grow your business further?
Yeah, sure. So long term, our plans are to become the largest sales channel for new construction real estate in the United States. Like to achieve this, we plan to take certain market share on like 50 markets in the US. Austin was technically our first market. Right now we're launching in Dallas and Houston, and we plan to launch there. We are launching in Dallas by the end of the March, and we'll launch in Houston by the end of the May. After that, we have a chain of other markets, and in total, we plan to launch on like from 6 to 8 new markets by the end of 2021. After that, like just to explain a little bit more, so we want to become an end-to-end platform for new construction real estate transaction, right? So right now we mostly focused on a new construction search, but there are also many other options. So right now we're making money mostly in a like transaction commission, but there's also mortgage, there's title insurance, there's new construction insurance. There are many other services that in total like create a large, super large market in terms of that is not operating very efficiently right now. So our goal is just like to become the largest sales channel for new construction. For that, we need to have like at least like 4% market share on 50 top markets in the US. And on our way there, we will add new services for builders, for clients, to make sure that we can increase our like average commission, and in general, like have a better and more scalable business model that will help us to achieve our goals.
Okay, I get it. So why have you decided to go to the startup field actually? Because you know there are a lot of opportunities to grow maybe in the corporate sector, or to go maybe to work for Google, for Apple, for top brands. Why have you decided to go for your own startup way?
Yeah, so it's actually it's really boring story in terms of how that turned out with me, because when I started with startups, like sorry for this tautology, right? But like when it actually happened, I was not able to find any other job. So I founded my first company at the age of 16. I didn't have an education back then, and I actually didn't have like many options how to find appropriate job. And when I did it, like with my first company, Prinster, we also raised a small seed round, and after that we failed. But I realized that I don't really want to do anything else, right? Because that's some kind of like addiction when you can actually make decisions on what you want to build, and you see how that actually influence people and what impact it has in businesses, it's really hard to when go down to something like less impactful in terms of your actions and your business. So I just stayed with it, and after that I founded another company which became like pretty good business also in real estate tech, but it was more like a business than a startup because it didn't have like super fast growth. But after that I realized that I want to build something really big and scalable and really impactful. So that's how we started basically Propertymate, and we're still working on that. But in my case, it was more about limitation of choice than like having too much choice, right? So I was not really able to do many other things. So I really liked tech industry. Before that, I've been writing for some blog about like startup and tech news. And I had this bias that it's actually way easier than that it's turned out being. And I started doing that, but then I realized that I actually like it and I'm pretty happy with what I'm doing. So I didn't really want to do anything else.
That's nice. Okay, so now you are maybe on the third year, right? Please correct me. What's the age of your company now? So it's the third year of your business, right?
Yeah, right. We're almost 3 years old.
Almost
But
a year old. Okay. Oh, great. What could you advise yourself from your experience now to yourself when you are just starting, when you see the open ocean of opportunities? What would be your, let's say, the three main advices that you'll give to yourself before this experience?
Yeah. So I think like the biggest point is to be intelligently honest with yourself, because like probably the biggest mistakes that we were doing were because we were lying to ourselves about the market, about the traction, about different stuff that was really important, but we were trying just like to create some sort of illusion to just convince ourselves that we are doing right thing while we were doing totally wrong thing. So be intelligently honest with yourself is probably the first thing. But I'm not sure that I would realize what is that like 3 years ago. So anyway, another thing is probably like do everything with lower costs and just like launch everything as quickly as possible, because when we were just like starting working with that, we engaged with the team. We were building like a lot of software. We were building and then trying to sell, while in the reality you first need to try to sell. You need to sell and then build. And basically everything that we've done that worked out pretty well was actually sell and then build. And I wish I did it that way back then. And probably third thing is to hire people like I would really want to work with forever, because probably the biggest like mistakes, if let's say in terms of business, what we were having were mostly about wrong people on different roles. So sometimes we had like too much people, and sometimes we had just like, but in majority of cases we had not right people for these roles. And I think that that's probably three biggest like learnings that I have, like be intelligently honest, sell then build, and hire like the right people.
It's very useful, Bogdan. I'm curious if you come across any guys from like former Soviet Union, like Russian guys, Belarusian, Ukrainian. Are there any like strong points that you see that our guys are mostly strong in, or you would say more or less it's around basically everything? And also the second thing, what is like really hot now in the States? What do you think? Where sort of is going? What's going on?
Yeah, sure. So I think that like from CAS markets, like probably the biggest thing that we have a lot of really cool engineers, and they're like genuine engineers. So they're way more skilled and talented than many other people. And also what I really like about people from post-Soviet countries, that when they're in the US, like probably they're tougher, and they they did way more to be in the place where they are now than many other people who were from whom it was like birthright. So that's a very important thing, because for someone from, like, let's say Ukraine and Russia to settle down in like Bay Area or in New York, it's like way longer journey, very tough journey, when you need just like to change everything about yourself, about your mindset, about your skills, to be at a place where you are, than for many people who just like relocated there from like Illinois or Alabama, or for somewhere else. So like that's probably a very important thing. And I think that that's mindset, that you're actually just like moving toward your goal and trying to do anything just like to achieve something better, is very important for entrepreneurs, because that's ambition. At some point you had ambition to do one thing, like just to relocate somewhere, or just like to become an engineer, having way lower like theoretical basis or ability to learn than people from developed countries. And now you have some other goals, and I think that like ambitions that many local engineers have is sometimes they're way cooler than something that I've seen from just like people who were born in the US. Talking about stuff that is hot, like obviously all like finance, fintech stuff right now is super hot. Like, I mean, everyone is talking about Robinhood, everyone is talking about SoFi, everyone is talking about blockchain again, right? So this is super hot stuff. And other things that I've seen where market is moving, that before that, majority of companies, they were basically trying to build entire web experience, while right now more and more companies are becoming unicorns when they're digitalizing or democratizing some of the traditional services, like let's say insurance or a real estate transaction, right? Like many other industries like this. And I think that there's really big opportunity right now, will be in the future, that if you look on the fastest growing companies in the US right now in terms of valuation, let's say, and their fundraising activities. So there will be a really big opportunity about making similar companies on other markets, because in some time, all of these companies that right now are targeting only the US market, they are talking that they will launch on other markets soon. But I believe that many of the local founders, they can see what's working really well in the US, and they can try to rebuild that story locally. And it might turn out to be like really great company that potentially can be acquired in the future by these global brands. So yeah, just like I think that a lot of fintech stuff that's right now is trying to disrupt the way how people work with investments, how they work with personal finances. Really cool. And also, of course, like all of the real estate stuff that is happening is basically trying to bring real estate transaction more like e-commerce experience based on what has been comparing to what has been before. I think that in general that might become really great industry. But I think that's also what's really important is just like looking at the stuff that is not so hot right now, because I remember when I was starting with real estate, like around 7 years ago, like everyone was telling me that, space is dead, like that after 2008, nothing will happen in real estate. It's too regulated. It's like not interesting. Like nothing interesting is going to happen with real estate in the next 10 or 20 years. But right now, we're looking at the market that is actually way stronger than it's been in 2008. And basically, all the technology advances that have been happening to a real estate market created a lot of unicorns like Compass, Open Door, Zillow became like 10 times more expensive comparing to what it's been like in March, right? It's been like with 5 or 6 billion valuation. Right now, it's like over 50. So market is growing very fast. And I think that if someone is able to find the same market right now, which is more in the silent mode, but where many smart people are trying to pick up and bring something there, I think that it might be a really, really big opportunity. Because it's way better to start when the market is not that hot and then become an incumbent that actually will be one of the leading and biggest companies in the market, than go in when everyone is there, right? Like with blockchain right now.
Okay, great. So many people say that you need a huge amount of resources to become a unicorn, especially in United States or whatever, in other markets. What do you think about that? What is actually needed to become a unicorn or really unique, let's say, and high, well-known company?
Well, so the obvious answer is that you need to raise money at $1 billion valuation, right? Actually, I think what's really important for that is to build something in a really big market with a really great team and find yourself in a relevant competition when many other of your competitors are actually raising something, and be able to execute, to grow within that competition. Because if you look at the industry, it's almost in every unicorn more or less has really strong competitor who raised almost the same amount of money. So I think that competition in some way is really critical. So it's really hard to imagine that someone built that from scratch, right? So there must be a big opportunity. And I think that in our case, from founders who I talked to, who built $1 billion companies, at least in terms of valuation. So actually, I haven't really met anyone who was super happy about raising $150 million of funding, because then you have another very, very big responsibility that you need to execute in your growth. You need to increase your valuation. You need to build something bigger, and also it's a really big responsibility. So I think that the main goal must be to grow, and then when you see that there is certain opportunity and you need resources to achieve that opportunity, and you have the clear plan how you can achieve that with help of that resources in the next let's say 12, 18 or 24 months, that's really makes sense. So that should be more organically than raising just to raise. I think so. But I'm in general, I'm wrong person to answer that question, because we're really far from that. I hope that maybe in a couple of years when we'll chat again, I'll have better answer for this question.
Okay, nice. And what would be let's say the main advices for the people who are, let's say, just startup founders who have maybe they're just the beginners, they have low expertise, they have some expertise, usually they have really good technical expertise, but low business expertise. So what I would say the main advices you could give them just to show the right way? What are the main things they should focus on?
So probably The biggest advice would be like stop building and start selling. Like if they're technical people and like I understand that it's like natural like way to make something is start building that, but actually what's really more important when you're building a startup is start selling. So try to build something super simple, something that is actually can let's not say that deliver the value, but maybe like measure the value that you can deliver to some people. That might be something like even code free, and just like try to bring it to as many people as possible, and then find people who are the most excited about it and just like talk to them and learn how you can solve their problem. So I think that the most important thing is just like stop building and start selling. That's really good advice for just like my advice for those who are starting with their companies right now. Another thing is just like to find someone who has a better expertise in fields that are critical for your company, but where you feel that you're not so good. Like try to hire or find the smartest people, like only smartest people. Like just if you know that there's this guy and he's working for as a like let's say junior engineer at some outsourcing company, and you just like know him and you're considering him joining you, so don't settle for this. Find the smartest people and go to the smartest people and try to sell them on your vision, and your vision will be always bigger than what you have, but that's something that will make other smart people join forces with you. So I think that's also very important.
So sometimes at Metro and I would come across the guys who actually made a choice to grow and build in their markets which are less competitive than US, like Russia, which are less popular and like really grow the base from here. Do you think this is a good way for most of the guys? You would say, do some guys should stick to Ukraine, Belarus, or Russia, or you think they should venture into big market and try themselves there, or it's different for everyone? What do you think?
Yeah, so I think it depends on like their motivation, why they're doing this, and it depends on the market. Let's say, right? So in our case, we've done like other real estate related things on a Ukrainian or European market before. And one of our key learnings was that there's almost no market for that, right? So you need to educate the market, you need to explain them what they should use this. And there's like many issues around that. Also, one of the things you should look at, so if you're building a startup, you should look at the landscape, right? Like how many other startups are appearing in this market? Are they raising funds? How fast are they growing? What problems they're solving? And one of the problem, like from what I've learned in Ukraine about software, that in Ukraine, like people typically have many more important reasons how they will spend $100 than like for something that your company made. And that's like the market size is very important. Many people, when they're thinking about the market, they're thinking about population, right? So let's say in the US, there's 300 million or like 350 million people. In Ukraine, let's say there's 40 million people. So we can assume that Ukraine is only like 9 or 10 times smaller than the US. But that's not true, because like our market is actually like smaller than the market of like large US town, right? So like some of the cities are actually twice bigger in terms of have twice bigger markets than Ukraine in total, and it's really important to understand. And also, what's really important then when you're building something in Ukraine, it would be or Russia, right? It would be hard to scale this to other markets because you're solving specific problems on this market. You work with specific mentality. And then if you will decide to scale it to, let's say, not even the US, but Poland or Germany or United Kingdom, you will need to rebuild everything from scratch. With US, what's pretty logical, that's the biggest market in the world, right? And you can launch it in one city or like one area and then scale it to another. And it would be way easier than, let's say, do the same with like comparable, similar European markets in terms of size. So I think that what really makes sense is to find the market where the problem that you're solving is actually like the biggest, right? And start from there. If you see that there's like competition is too big, and you see that the same problem is actually also popular in the place where you're based, that's fine. But it's, once again, it depends on what you're building and why you're doing this. Like from what I've seen, like many startups that are targeted on the local market in Ukraine, they're more like just, small size or mid-size entrepreneurship. So they're not growing very fast. They're just like doing normal business, like software business, because they can keep up with unit economy in terms of their R&D costs and everything else. And that's great. But I assume that it would be way harder for them to build like large companies, and if they will ever want to raise funding or do something with that.
Okay, that's nice. So you mentioned very important thing, because the motivation, because on the initial base, the motivation of the founder is everything that the project has. So what's your motivation in this special Propertymate project? What moves you to the next level? What gives you energy to grow faster and to keep on going with the project?
Yeah, so this good question. So actually, I was asking it myself, like just recently. So I asking this question myself, like really often, and I came up to the decision that it's like actually like a lot of different things, right? So except of motivations, it's also discipline. At the beginning, you have just like a lot of ambition and exciting that you can do something that might become big. You dream about fame, about money, about everything, but it's not what's happening actually. Then you started working with that and you understand that there's no money, there's no fame, and you're like effectively broke, right? And after that, like some responsibility steps in there. Responsibility for people that you're hired, responsibility for people who believed in you, responsibility for your clients. And I think that that's the mix of that stuff. So right now it's like the mix of ambitions, responsibility, and excitement about the problem that we're solving. But that's always the mix. At the beginning, it's really important to find something you are very excited about, because otherwise it would be really hard to bring that to the moment when you will be motivated by any sort of responsibility. But yeah, I think that it's always like the mix of that stuff. Sometimes I have some problems I don't really want to solve, right? So like just deal with something bad or not pleasant, etc. But you're doing this, and then like basically that responsibility is the motivation. So that's right. So like that's the mix of things.
Bogdan, it's really enlightening what you're saying. You can clearly see that you're liking what you're doing. So this is like really, really good to have you with us. Yeah.
Yeah. Thank you.
Okay, that's nice. And what about your family? So you told them, okay, now I'm going bootstrap, now I'm going startups. What were the, let's say, first reactions on that? Did they have they supported you on that, or it was like on the contrary? So you go to the opposite direction that they offered you?
Yeah. So in my case, I was like when I launched my first company, I was in pretty early age, and actually I dropped out of the university back then. Like I was in the second year in the university, and like my technically my only close family at the moment was my grandma, and she has the dream of me like becoming an educated person, right? And I realized that I just don't want this. And in my case, that's probably like I never really had problems with explaining something to my family, but probably that's only because of my age and my stage at that moment. But I'm, like right now I'm dealing with that more often than before, because right now when we're hiring people and we're hiring like mature people with families and kids and a lot of responsibilities, and when you're trying to like explain them what you're doing and what you're building, and then you ask them about their concerns, and that's very often when they have this concern like going work for a startup, because like what will happen if you will not exist in a year or two, or what will happen if that won't work out, right? So many questions. And I just realized that that's one of the risks that you need to handle. And right now, like we have the strategy, so that's what we are explaining to our employees, that like don't think about it as a like very risky opportunity, because it's like our main responsibility to make sure that with everything that we'll be doing, that we will have like enough funds and enough resources to execute on our vision. So that's our responsibility. But what's really more important in terms of that, like for other people, is I think to understand not like what will happen if you will join this company or if you will do a startup, but what will happen if you won't, right? So what will happen if you will not do what you want, right? And then in a couple of years, you will see that someone else did it, and they've done like really great company, and they achieved some sort of success with that. Like, will you be happy with that? What will happen if you will not do what you want to? And for me, that was always like the starter, because I wanted to do something. I just started that and did it. But for many people, especially when in cases when they feel that they're not ready for this, it's not okay right now, they have too many responsibilities, and that's like really stupid to risk with everything and do something, that's fine. Probably you just like need to wait. You will get more matured, and then you can do something, and it will work out way better. So in my case, that wasn't an issue, but for many people who are also considering such choice, I think that it really depends on the situation. But think on what will happen if you won't do it right now. If you're fine with that, it is okay. That's cool. If not, get it done.
Yeah, that's great.
That sounds great, Bogdan.
Okay, usually a lot of people see the streams recorded, because the previous one about 600 people saw it after the stream. So it's okay, because sometimes it's more or less convenient to join us at the same time. But anyway, yeah. I was very pleased to talk to Bogdan. Yes, hi Uliana. If you want to do some comments, you feel free to ask questions here in comments. We'll see it also, because initially when I first saw Bogdan, the Bogdan was thank you. Yeah, the Bogdan was treated like with the Ukrainian community like a young superstar of the startup community. It was with the first company. Now it's more like maybe more mature and more growing, growing superstar. That's great. So I think that Bogdan is a really inspiring example of people who believe in what they do and who can really manage and get the state they want to. So that's why I really enjoy talking to you, and I really hope that in a couple of years we could hear about the Propertymate, that the Propertymate become a really good unicorn company, not only in Austin, but I think in several states of the United States. Yeah, and I really think that maybe in the future interviews you'll share some maybe later stage experiences of how to manage a 100 people company with $1 billion turnover, and I would be very pleased to share your new experience with other people to see that every person that is capable to do what they want to, that every person who is really clear on what they can get it because they put effort, they have an intention, and they can do it. And you're the really absolute example of that. That's why I really like it.
Thank you for this. I won't take this for granted. We will really do our best to do everything that we are committed for, and I really hope that in a couple of years we'll be able to reconnect, and hopefully we'll have something new to share with you and with your community.
Okay.
Well, thank you very much. It was very inspiring. Yeah, good luck with your project. All right.
Yeah.
Appreciate
thank you so much.
Thank you for taking it. Okay.
Thank you, Bogdan. Also, I'd like to share some information with the guys that listen to us, the guys and girls, that in Olymp Ventures, we are the venture studio and the fund, and we help founders of startups that want to grow in the United States to prepare better for the accelerators, to enter there and to show traction on the Western market with our experience and with the funds that we invest in, with experience in marketing in different areas. So if you are interested, you can join, and you can, if you want to sign up and to get pre-acceleration with us, please complete the form, and we will be happy to help you to save years on joining international markets. Yeah. Anyway, thank you, Bogdan. It was really pleased to meet you. Thank you, Kirill. And I think that maybe people who will see the stream recorded will share some ideas, and they will ask you some questions. So now we're pleased to see you here. So
thank you, guys. Bye now.
Right. Awesome. Thank you.
Yeah.
Bye.